Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Shatu.
I really like this little magic thing, right? I suddenly appear. Zoom has some really interesting elements. But without further delay, my name is Anita, and I welcome everyone on behalf of Manhattan Meditation Center and Peace Village Learning and Retreat Center. Uh, both the names what I just said, they are part of the Brahma Kumari's Bird Spiritual Organization. I'm sure a lot of you know that, but we don't know who is joining us for the first time. So for their sake, so before we start today's talk, it's actually not even a talk. It is the meditation experience, right? So very quickly, the services what Manhattan Meditation Center offers. Uh, as you know, every Thursday of the month, we gather here on this platform, and we always have some interesting topic which can make life a little bit at a time better. And the recordings of all these Thursday talks are available on Manhattan Center's YouTube channel. If you want to get the recordings of this talk or to the previous ones, whatever we conducted earlier, please subscribe to our channel so you will have everything in one place. You can also just do a Google search or search on a YouTube if you're familiar with the topic. That will also work because these are all public broadcasts. Beside this, we offer live meditation Monday to Friday at noon time. It's just for 15-20 minutes. Power boost. So, at the middle of the day when you need little more energy to finish the day nicely, it's a good idea to join meditation. We started our workshops and meditation courses. So on February 18th, we have a workshop coming up. And on February 25th and 26th, we have 2 days meditation course. All the information about these two events is available on Manhattan Center's website. I will post the link in a chat in a little while if you're not already familiar with it or navigating our website. We encourage you to go check the lot of events which are going to come in the near future. We have already posted the information about it. Maybe you can block your dates if you find something which align with your interest. Beside this, I shouldn't forget to mention the podcast service. We also started the podcast service, and we have short meditations and some discussions on interesting topics available on our podcast platform. You can listen to our podcasts uh, on our website, plus on podcast platforms. Which ones I have? Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and there are a few others which I mentioned last time. I'll make an effort to memorize all of them. So next time I can list. We are on 5 platforms. Okay, so that was quite a mouthful. If you have any questions about any of our services, you can just put a question in the chat and I'll do my best to answer it. So today's topic, experience meditation, right? Every talk, what we offer on Thursdays or any other program Brahma Kumaris do, right? Meditation is a part of that program. So it won't be wrong to say that meditation, learning to meditate, becoming good at it, and all is the hallmark of the teachings, what we learn in Brahma Kumaris and what we share with others. It's the very core of it. And in every talk, there is always a little meditation, right? Either in the beginning or in the middle. But today, we are dedicating the whole hour just to talk about meditation. And I know a lot of you have been joining us off and on or very regularly. You must be practicing meditation. You might have some questions and you have some aha moments also. We would love to hear all of that. So whenever Sister Rona opens the platform for questions and sharings, please do open up your mic and share that. But before that, because I have the mic, maybe I'll share about meditation. So I'm with Brahma Kumaris, associated with the organization for 12 years now. And when I joined when I just became part of the organization, there is no joining. That word gives a very different impression in the mind, right? When I became part of the organization, didn't have a clue what meditation is. I had no interest in meditation. And like I said, meditation is a part of it. So from the very first class, first lesson, what I attended, meditation was. And I don't know what I'm doing. But slowly, as I started following the suggestions which were made, first thing what I noticed is that it is helping me to sort my thoughts. It gives me the chance to just sit with myself and just listen to myself. And it's helping me to start sort my thoughts. And sorting was not just by sitting, whatever the knowledge was shared, that was helping to, how do I say it? The tangle what we run in our mind, right? The cyclical thoughts, how to come out of it. The knowledge, what I was listening and hearing, I was trying to imbibe it. And that made my meditation, kind of, I stepped into it and it made it better. So it's a combination, right? Knowledge plus the practice of it. And meditation, you can think of it as whatever you learn to experiment with it is meditation part of it. And experiments, we don't need anything else, just your mind just opening up to that knowledge, points of knowledge, and just sitting with it. So I think I'm deflecting, coming back to meditation. Slowly, it became more clear to me that meditation is not just an activity, it is a state of mind where the mind stays calm and quiet throughout the day, no matter what the situation is, no matter who the person is in front of you. And that's just made life so much better. I felt like I had more time to do things because mind is not stuck with the cyclical thoughts. And then I think in the very recent past, it went to the next level, which in English, there is no word for it, but in Hindi, we call it yog. And I will not go into the explanation of it, that maybe some other time. But what it means is that you just become more introvert, connect with yourself, connect with the true identity of yourself, which in Brahma Kumaris, we talk about that we are not just human beings, we are spiritual beings. That true identity, once you start connecting with it, then the next level is that mind just opens up to receive information. You find your answers. You see things with a very different perspective and more clarity. So then that means the life is just much more enjoyable. Nothing else changes. What changes is inside your mind, more space for your thoughts, more space, what you choose to think. And then connecting with the true identity just takes it to the next level. I think I'm going to stop here and invite Sister Rona to share. She shares every week, but taking us into an experience of meditation. Sister Rona, very warm welcome on behalf of everyone. You're muted.
Hello, everyone. And also, heartily welcome to those who are at the center here in person. We have become so Zoom oriented during the pandemic, but we actually have a space here and a meditation center and a meditation room, and there are some here also. And of course, most welcome everyone on Zoom, which gives us the beautiful opportunity to meet, even the distance is too long, or not too long, but the distance is too big to just come and pay a visit for an hour. Today's session on experience meditation. And Anita has already shared some thoughts. So maybe we could start with some meditation practice, and then we will explore a bit more how you can build your practice for yourself. What exactly is meditation and what can be, where does it lead to? But let's just have a few more minutes for just basic, simple initial steps to relaxation and becoming more receptive and aware. And just speak a few words and just see if you can follow it. And just allow the body to be comfortable. That it doesn't pull your mind. And just for a few moments, we tell ourselves that we completely accept everything. Accept the body, accept the world, accept the surroundings and the circumstances. Someone may walk in, there may be some noise. You just accept it. So no need to think about it or worry about it. And as if shift the extension, shift your attention away from the external and become more aware of your inner world. And this function of awareness. For example, you are aware of the position of the body. But train this function, more subtle form of awareness, is to be aware that there is one who is experiencing this body. The body doesn't experience by itself. There is an invisible experiencer, the inner being. And just become aware of this. There is this body, physical entity, but there is this like invisible experiencer, one who is using the eyes to see. One is using the mouth to speak. That one you can't see, sitting behind the eyes, as if using the eyes like windows. Let us just try and grasp this. We are generally not thinking of ourselves in this way. We think of ourselves in terms of body and gender and position or ethnicity, physical appearance. But the living being conscious being invisible experiencer, the inner being, separate, independent from the body, using the body but independent, two separate entities. And just try and develop this more subtle awareness. We are generally aware of gross things, objects, body, surroundings, other people, sound. But to become aware of the invisible, but very real. And just to help ourselves, we can use the image of light, like a tiny spark operating from behind the eyes. And just to create this awareness of these two separate entities, the body and the being, the soul. And just observe what that does with the mind. To begin to open up to this awareness of the self as a being of light, like a tiny star, timeless, pure, serene, living light. And the body is the tool, the instrument to play this game of human life. And just try and hold these thoughts for a few moments. And this image of light. Serene, free, pure, being of light. Like a tiny star. operating this huge body. And as we gradually come to the end of this meditation exercise, let us aim, even though we finish the exercise, let us aim to play with this in the next hour or so. Just try and hold this image of this tiny star and reflect on this. This is actually the real self, this non-physical, spiritual being associated with this body for a temporary period of time. Om Shanti. Thank you. Just some thoughts on meditation in general. Meditation and the practice of meditation has become a very popular thing these days. Even doctors tell some of their patients that they should learn to meditate, do a course, get some meditation lessons. And so it has become associated with a tool to create well-being, a tool to create peace, a tool to help in certain mental health conditions also, or at least to help calm down stress. And there are many, 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 many different techniques and forms of meditation available. And there is probably a potential benefit in all of those practices. And this practice, like Anita had shared in the introduction and her own experience, this practice that we teach in the Brahma Kumaris, that we share with you, is part of a much wider body of spiritual knowledge called Raj Yoga. And so this practice of meditation has specific aims that is connected with that knowledge of Raj Yoga. And the practice of meditation depends a little bit the different forms of meditations that are there. I haven't tried most of the other meditations, so I definitely am not an authority on any of the other practices. But every practice, I'm sure, has its own specific aim. The aim of this meditation practice is to become aware of the self as a spiritual being and the potential of yourself as a spiritual being. And when you're aware of the self as a spiritual being, and there is that whole invisible dimension that we normally exclude in our thinking and our going about everyday life. And so there is this understanding that this beautiful word that is there, no? Human being. Human is the body and the bodily extensions and interactions and relationships and position and possession around the body. But there is a being. And that being experiences everything, and that being transcends the limitations of the body. And that being is the real you, the real me. Now, this requires a huge shift in our thinking. Because generally, when we use the word I, what comes to mind? You want to say what comes to mind? I.
This body.
Body.
This physical appearance most of the time, or the child of a certain person, or mother of, or a partner of, or I'm the teacher or the doctor or whatever. That is how usually that word I is used, or I am a female. And even if we don't speak it, this is what comes on the screen of our mind, the physical image. And so that is kind of ingrained in our thinking. That has become our awareness of self. Our sense of identity has become so physical. The beginning of this body, we think that is the beginning of me. And the end of the body, we think is the end of me. We have actually completely, over time, ignored the real me. And so the practice of Raj Yoga meditation is to begin to see this truth that we are not this body, but spiritual beings. That this body is a vehicle. Like a car. You can sit in a car. Do you ever become the car? Even if you drive it, even if you steer, even if you accelerate and brake, even if you stay in the car for 20 years and you never come out, do you ever become the car? No. And the beginning of the car doesn't mean the beginning of the driver. The driver gets into the car at some stage and the driver can leave. And the car can finish. Does it mean the driver finishes? No. So in the same way, to begin to that subtle process of shifting our sense of identity, of shifting that awareness from the self as a physical human being to a spiritual being who transcends the limitations of the body. Now, why should we do this? You can ask. Why should we make this effort? To shift our understanding of identity. Now, if we see ourselves as bodily beings, human beings, we identify with the limitations of the body. We also identified with the needs of the body. And we, over time, even have become dependent and slaves to those needs of the body. Whilst on the opposite, if there is internally the awareness, we are spiritual beings, innately with divine potential. Beings who are immortal. And we come here to play. What a difference. Many of us, if not all of us, all of humanity, has some fear of death and dying. Now, why is that? We don't like this word death. We don't like this word dying. We don't like this word end. Because it doesn't resonate with our natural nature. And because the soul, the real self, doesn't die. But because we identify, we feel we die and we end. And we don't like that. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel nice. And so many insecurities that are can rule our mind come from this basic root of fear of losing this, fear of losing life. But it is based on this wrong understanding of self. True self is soul. So many of the ailments of today, stress and anxiety and fears and worries, fear of losing, they can be diminished or maybe potentially even become zero when we shift from that physical identity to that awareness of the self as a soul. So this is one of, and so when we talk about peace, wanting to experience peace, when there is awareness of the self, of the soul, that deeper peace of, we discover that we are beings of peace. So, how do we meditate? Because I can have a whole nice motivational sharing about why we should and what is the use of it and the benefits of it. And there are much more than what I just explained. And there are many, many deeper aspects to it. But how do we start? And I will just shift to the board and draw a few things and write so that it will help us. And those on Zoom, see?
Yes, Sister Rona.
Okay, so one of the things that helped me is to keep it simple. These are deep concepts, these are vast concepts, but meditation and practices for them to be sustainable, it needs to have that element of fun. If something is like hard effort and strenuous clenched fist tension, it is not sustainable, or at least not for me. There needs to be that element of fun and humor. And for that reason, also, it is helpful to simplify things. Of course, there are deep aspects and vast aspects to it, but at least if your foundation is simple and clean, then you can go back to that. That is why little drawings and sketchings help me. Although there's no talent at all, doesn't matter. So what happens in the mind during the practice is from seeing the self as this, you can see. Although the hair is not like that. Falling off too much. Seeing the self as this, beginning to create in the mind that awareness that this is just the package. And there is this inner being, and I just draw it above like a star. And in my mind, I carry this image. to begin to become aware of the self as a soul. This is the living being. This is the package. And so when I sit for meditation, it of course is helpful to have a certain space that you use often, a certain clean, comfortable chair or on the ground, wherever, however you would like to sit. All of that, the external circumstances may help, but it is actually not essential. I have a friend who tells me she meditates best on Indian buses and trains. Now, they are not at all quiet and comfortable. But what I'm trying to say is ultimately, we should be able to create this state of mind and do these practices wherever we are and whatever we are doing. And this is why we also encourage people. One of the reasons why we encourage people to not close the eyes or to experiment with it, to keep your eyes open, but not forcefully, like, oh, but in a natural way, to see and not to see, because your attention is focused inwards. You are aware what is going on, but your attention is not there. You don't think of these things. And so this first step, you could say, is to withdraw your attention from the external and create a more heightened sense of awareness of the inner world, as we call it. Now, inner world is not your heart and your lungs and your stomach. That is inside the body. But inner world is your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, and even deeper, your sense of awareness of who you are, your awareness of your identity. How do I see myself? Who do I think self to be? And so you withdraw your attention from the external. What happened today? Who said what? Who did what? What are we going to eat later? What am I? No, all of that will still be there. Don't worry. After your meditation practice, it will still be there and the people will still be there. But now you're just taking time to try and deeply reflect and experiment with more spiritual thoughts. And so that first step, you could call it, is to actively, consciously shift the attention away from the external and to become aware of the self as this, I like this word, invisible experiencer, invisible driver of this body, invisible operator of the body. Tiny light. And this image helps in the mind. Tiny living light. Then, of course, there is a whole world of the soul. And just like the body has different functions and abilities and organs, so also the soul. And that is where spiritual knowledge is important. It is a combination of meditation and meditation practices and the study of spiritual knowledge. Because to deepen your meditations, to know what you have to meditate on, what types of thoughts to create, we need knowledge. And so once you have done that first step, shift the attention more inwardly, so to say, and to create this awareness. And more you do it, you will become experienced in it. You become expert. More you do it, it will become easier and quicker also. But this is already meditation. It's not that I'm still having to go into meditation. It is already meditating. But training your mind, that more subtle awareness of who is the real self. And then you can choose a specific aspect or a specific topic. Now, for example, what we just used is the The soul is the driver of the body. You choose a specific topic, a spiritual topic to focus on. And you concentrate on that topic. You allow for a few minutes or a minute or half a minute, only thoughts and images in your mind around the topic that you chose. Now, it can also be the topic of a being of light, just this tiny star of light and serene light. Or a being that is free and independent. But you choose your topic and you hold in your mind only thoughts and images around your topic. Now, what will happen then is every thought carries with it a certain energy, a certain feeling also comes. So, for example, if you hold this thought of light, tiny star, if you hold that thought without jumping to something else, that thought allows for a certain feeling to emerge. A tiny star, serene light. But we are not used to use our mind in this way, to let it be guided by the intellect. One of the things that has happened with us is we think very fast. And having the care for the self to slow down. There's no need to think so fast. And many of these thoughts that we think are endlessly same thoughts again and again and again. So this is meditation. You shift your attention away from the external to the internal, becoming aware of the self as a being of consciousness, an invisible experience who has that ability of being aware. But what are we aware of? Aware of time? You are aware that it is evening. You don't think consciously. You are aware of you are in New York City. But now also that awareness of self, true self, timeless being of light. And then you concentrate on a specific topic within that and allow the feelings, allow the experience to emerge. And then if there is another topic that you would like to explore, go to another topic. Okay, before we do another practice, anyone want to ask anything? I'm sure all of you have had some try at meditation, or some of you may be experienced meditators. No? Okay. When do you see the benefit of it? First of all, we need to be clear what is benefit and what would we define as a benefit. Because actually I feel just your choice of exploring this is already a benefit. You're opening up to something new. That is beneficial already. Many of us can be very close-minded. But the moment I am doing this, shifting the attention away from the external to the internal, I am training my mind. I am taking more control over my own mind. That already is beneficial. So once I'm training that, I will become a bit more aware of, even during the day, of what I'm doing with my mind. And whether I'm all the time externally oriented, or am I more aware of my own thoughts and what is going on inside? That is already a benefit. More I do that, I will become more able to have that control over the mind. Are my thought thinking about other people all the time, what they think, what they say, what they do, what they not do, what they bought and what they not bought? Or am I more focused on self? That is already a benefit. Another benefit is, which I feel also over time becomes more strong, but is you're slowing down your thoughts by consciously choosing certain topics that you have interest in. And
Sister Rona,
hmm?
may I ask a question?
One
This
more.
is-
This is a question from someone here. I forgot to say.
Okay.
She's saying, when do you see the benefit? She was asking. And so one aspect of this slowing down thoughts is not that we become, how do you call it, foolish or dumb, but actually it's like breathing. If you breathe very fast, you breathe superficially, and that doesn't empower even the body. Breathing is not a problem. It is the wrong breathing. So same, thinking is not the problem. So that is why in Raj Yoga meditation, we don't try to stop thinking. But more you think slower, that thought becomes more powerful. And you allow the feelings connected with that thought to emerge. So you become more alive in a way, more aware and more conscious in a way. And every thought carries that world of feelings with it. And you allow that. Now, if it is a powerful thought, the content of that thought is powerful, then feelings will be powerful and empowering. So your thoughts become more powerful. You're slowing them down. You're choosing more consciously your thought. So your whole inner world, there will be a different atmosphere, a different mood inside. Now, the content of the thought and the spiritual content of your thoughts, for that we need to learn more, get more, expose ourselves to spiritual knowledge. But then to experiment with that spiritual knowledge, to hold it in the mind. The real self is this timeless, imperishable being of peace, immortal, and to let it become a reality in your thoughts. How does that feel? A mind that is free. A mind that is free from fear. How do you feel? If your mind is free from fear. Even if it is a minute, is a big thing that creates power. And so it is not about when will I see the benefit. It is more about the dedication and the quality of your practice. You can have immediate benefits. And of course, there will also be long-term benefits. The only disadvantage in between brackets would be nobody else can do it for you. And we like that, no? Somebody else can do it for me and I just order it and pay for it and that's it. That is not in this case. Let us have a little bit of practice now again, and then we come to the questions from Zoom. Yeah. Okay. And let there be this feeling of love and enthusiasm and interest. Because that is a big factor in concentration. We have to have interest. Like this, curious to find out what is going on inside here and how can I harness this huge treasure of my mind and of thoughts and this huge treasure of spiritual wisdom. How can I harness that and can make it useful for my own life's experience? So allow the body to be comfortable. It helps if there are no pulls from the body or as little as possible. And also it may help to just become aware of the position of the body, for example, to train this ability of awareness, become aware of the breathing of the body, the rhythm of inhalation and exhalation. Become aware of the heartbeat and how that heart, precious physical organ, pumps the blood to all the organs and extremities. Or we can think 1,000, 1,000,000 things even. But are we aware of these functions of the body, the instrument we are using? And now even a step back further. There is one who is using this body. One who is experiencing all these bodily sensations. One who is operating the brain. One who is using these eyes as windows to see outside. The inner being, the soul. Invisible being of consciousness. And just to shift away from this sense of self as this huge body, male, female, to this sense of soul, timeless, divine spark, living light. And just try and grasp this. This living light, invisible, it's the real I, the soul. Pure light. This living light, this real self, is like a guest in this body, a guest on this planet. And this body is like a precious instrument. And just take a moment to reflect more deeply on this tiny living spark who is a guest. Guest means you can come and go. Free. And fill the mind with this image of light, timeless, imperishable, immortal, free. Peaceful. And allow the feelings connected with these thoughts and these images. Allow these feelings to emerge. And you may notice that other thoughts may be triggered to come on in your mind. You don't fight with them, but you say, not now. Interesting, but I'm not interested now. And you return to your theme. Tiny living light, the soul, who is like a traveler, a visitor on this planet, in this body. Try and grasp what it means, imperishable. The immortality of the soul. And with that awareness of self, in the mind, you as if observe all the different scenes of human life. We can get so stuck in different situations. But scenes come and go. Situations come and go. But you remain that living light. Like an observer, a silent, invisible observer of the different scenes in the drama of life, in the game of human life. And as we gradually come to the end of this exercise, try and hold this image and awareness throughout the rest of the evening at least. Om Shanti. One beautiful time is already gone. Just one more aspect and then maybe a question for those who have time. One beautiful aspect that happens if our this awareness, this function of awareness becomes more subtle and more more strong, and awareness of the subtle becomes more strong. We also become aware that others are also souls, spiritual beings. And also we can begin to perceive, become aware of the presence of the Supreme Soul, one who is ever pure, ever peaceful, ever wise, ever fearless, beautiful being who is loving unconditionally. So that is another benefit. You get to become aware of that whole world that is beyond the senses. But we begin step by step. Not the journey of 1,000 miles. It begins with the first step and the second step. But we need a certain curiosity and a willingness to experiment and explore this. And so also we need to dedicate some time at least every day to practice this. And the more you practice, that is another answer to this question, when are you experiencing the benefits? It also has to do with how often and you practice and how regularly. It is better to every day spend 5 minutes than once a month spend 5 hours. To begin to train these more subtle abilities. Okay, time flies, no? One question and then we'll close, Anita, or whoever had that question. There was a hand raised.
Yeah. And that question was mine, but it is already answered. So maybe somebody else who has any question to ask. You can just open your mic.
The question that I addressed was from someone here in the center. Well, enjoy the journey into experimentations with your own mind, with your thoughts. And online there are many meditations. I would suggest to take one form of meditation and stay with this and go deeper and deeper with it than many different, but I mean, feel free, experiment and explore. But to really feel benefit, it is good to take one practice and really get it, practices and get it. And you can always later on decide to explore other things also, but and the Brahma Kumaris has many meditation, guided meditations online, which you can use, but those are tools. The aim is that you learn to do it yourself and grasp and get into the experiences within you, and that you become aware.
Sister, there is a question on the chat.
Sister Rona,
Yeah.
the question is how we may overcome thoughts of sickness.
One way, there are many areas, and actually this is a different, not a different, is material for another lecture. But one way is to begin to see and experience the health of the soul. But do these practices when, as much as possible, when going is good, when you are healthy, or when you are comfortable, even if there is illness, moments of relative comfort, use those moments to deeply experience soul consciousness. Because body pulls us because we are body conscious. When there is that soul awakened stage, then bodily sensations, we are aware of them, but they don't pull us. Christopher Reeve famously said, pain I cannot avoid, but suffering is a choice. Pain is another sensation, just like heat or cold. Pain is another sensation. But once we identify, or when we have used the body in certain ways, then it pulls deeply. And we are all trapped in that to some level or other. But practice when the going is good, or when there is relative comfort, because that helps to be free. And thoughts are stuck because we don't see a bigger perspective. We get so focused on body, and health of the body, which is understandable, not to be judgmental to the self or to others, but to free the mind and to begin to see a bigger picture. Okay, we have to stop.
I think today the hour just went by just like with the, I felt it's the shortest hour. I don't know about others, but I felt it was the shortest one. But thank you very much, Sister Rona. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. And thank you everyone for joining and staying with us. And we will see everyone on next Thursday. Good night.
And Rita had said in the beginning, but also every day, noontime, we have a power boost meditation. So that is also a way to kind of help yourself to make it regular, and you can always access recordings to listen to it.
They are very good.
Sister Rhonda,
I don't miss one, yes.
Yes, Sonia is a very, very loyal attendant for the power boost.
Oh, yes, for 3 years.
so
Thank you.
if I wanted to join the Power Boost, how do I join it?
If you just go to our website, there is a link for the Facebook and YouTube. You just click on it at noontime and you can just be part of the meditation group.
Okay, thank you.
There are also recordings available, so you can join. That is one way you can.
Thank you.
Shanti.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Final goodbye. Good night.
Let us close.
Thank you.
Let us close with a moment of silence together. Om Shanti. Good night.